And I hope you're having an amazing day. So today I'm going to talk about Platform App Builder certification maintenance. So the due date for this certification is around December 2021. So they haven't published the exact date, but it's around December 2021. So it could be any day or any date on December 2021, right? So what I'm going to do today, right? So I'm going to go through the few stuff they've added as a part of this maintenance, and it's pretty straightforward, nothing fancy about it, right? They've fiddled with a few things, they've added a few stuff, right? So, and I hope you're excited. I've taken this today, as you can see, it's it's nothing much to, it's just like 10 minutes, 15 minutes stuff. So you got to do one challenge. That's this one. Gets hands-on with flow before save trigger. That's pretty straightforward hands-on. I'm gonna show you what you can do, right? And okay, so the first thing first, if you haven't registered for an org, I would highly encourage you to please do so, because Salesforce is all about hands-on, right? If you are someone who believes that you can pass any test by watching videos, then I'm afraid that it's not going to happen, right? Because there's no point in just watching videos and not doing hands-on, right? So that's my honest advice. So please register for an org. It's free to do so, right? I mean, you can have an org for life. I mean, you don't have to pay anything, right? So, and if you're someone who is going to appear for Platform App Builder certification, stay tuned. This will be useful for you as well. Okay. All right. So let's jump into this. Learn what's new for App Builder. Okay. As you can see, the first thing, the App Builder header and toolbar changes. They're fiddled with a few things, right? So they moved the back option to the far left, and they've added this refresh option. Then they have analyze button to analyze the performance, right, for the record page. And then they have moved the save button to the far right. Okay, so let's look into this right now, right? I hope everyone knows how to go to Lightning App Builder, right? So it's pretty straightforward. So as you can see, I've logged into my org. So go to this tic-tac-toe icon on the far left, right? Okay, and then let's choose any object. Let's say contact, right? Okay, so let's go to contacts and let's pick any contact, right? So let's choose this guy here, and then you can see there's a get cog icon at the top right hand corner. Okay, go here and go to the edit page, right? So here you are in the Lightning App Builder page, right? And this is what I was talking about. You have the back button on the far left, and then you have this refresh option here, right? So you can refresh it, and you have analyze here, and you have activation and save here, right? If you click on analyze, you can see the page performance. So you can say moderate, you can go read through it, right, whenever you have time. So this is pretty cool stuff, right? Okay. So, and then you have another option, right? Now what they're saying is that you can simultaneously update the sharing model field for an object and create new criteria based or guest user sharing rules via metadata API, right? I'm not going to go into the detail. So previously, right, so what they were saying was that you have to deploy these changes in a separate package. Now you can deploy these changes simultaneously. That's what they're saying, right? Okay, that's cool. Then they have another change for the flow screen component, right? Now what they're saying is that you can create a reusable flow screen component using a generic S-object or an array of S-object data types, right? So what that helps is that you can build a component that can work for multiple objects, right? So that's pretty interesting. Give it a try, right? So these are the two changes they've done. And now I'm not sure if you worked with the dynamic forms. Dynamic forms are very handy, right? Think about a scenario, right, where you have a detail page, right? Or you can say the record page, right, where you have a lot of fields and everything looks cluttered. You wanted to, make it tidier. You wanted to move the fields to the right hand side. You can do that using the dynamic forms. So what you have to do is that you have to go to the custom object to enable it, right? So the first thing first, right, as I said, I'm in my org. So go to a custom object. I have a custom object called beer sold, right? Let's see if I got any data here. Okay, so I got a few data here, right? Let's look into here. So I got details here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, okay, so I'll go to the edit page, right? So go to edit page here, and then you can see here on the right hand side we say page. Let's go to the details here, right? So when you go to the record detail, right? So you get this message here. You can configure record detail section and fields right inside the Lightning App Builder, right? So what do you have to do? Click on upgrade now, right? And then skip this section next time if you wanted to, just go through it. So it just gives you an information about how to put the fields and section anywhere on the page, kind of stuff, right? Read through it and go next, right? So I'm just gonna choose, it's up to you which one you want to choose. So I'm gonna choose the admin beer sold layout, okay? And click on finish, okay? You see, you have an option here. So what I'm gonna do, so go to the fields here, okay? And I'm going to choose the record type here. I'm going to drag and drop here. I'm going to choose this here. I'm going to do this here. Okay. And click on save. Okay. And then activate. I mean, you probably don't have to do that. You have to. Okay. And save. Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go back. And let's look at it. Okay. So you can see, it's pretty straightforward, right? And so, okay, what we're gonna do, let's add another, let's move to the beer sold to the right hand side, right? Okay, let's just see if it's, okay, I just want it this way, just to make sure that if it's saved and it's reflecting the name changes. Right, so beer sold name. So that's why you can customize it. It's pretty friendly. Read about it. So, and how does it work? You can see, as you can see, you have to do upgrade now, which I've demonstrated how to do an upgrade now. And then, you know, you can do this stuff. Okay, another thing you can do is that another change, which I'm going to talk about just in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, you can do all this stuff. You can arrange the fields. It's pretty handy, right? And so, yeah. Okay, so at times, you know, what happens is that you get errors, right? When you know, everyone knows about flows, I assume, right? If you have already taken App Builder certification, then I expect that you guys should know how to work with flows, because that's one of the fundamental stuff they were testing you on the certification, right? So if you're saying that I've taken a certification and have no idea about flows, then I was wondering, how did you manage to pass the test in the first place, right? Okay, all right, sorry, I digress. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand, how to work with flows. It's very important here. Okay, so now what they've done is that you can actually debug a flows using another user, right? So for that, you need to enable an option here in the setup. I'll show you how to do that. So what you have to do is that go to your setup here, and as you can see that you have to go to automation settings, process, right? Or automation settings, and there's an option called let admin debug flows at other user. Just enable that option, right? Put a tick on it and save it. And then what happens is that you can actually debug it and run as another user. So as you can see on the debug the flow, so you can run it as another user. So this is one of the handy option, right? Check it out. So this is one of the things they've done. Okay, so as you can see here, debug flows, errors in sandbox org as another user, right? So, and after that, you can take the quiz. It's pretty straightforward quiz, right? Like 5 questions. And so if you understand, the few things, then you can do that. And one thing you have to understand here, right? Debugging a flow as another user is available only for screen flows and auto launch flows in non-production org, right? So you have to keep this into consideration, right? This feature supports flow elements and actions only, right? That's another thing you should understand, okay? right? So read about it, and so it's an important thing, right? Before you take this maintenance, I would highly expect you to go through it, read about it. So my main intention is to talk about what are the things they've added, right? Okay. So another thing, which is very important, what they did was that they've added before save trigger, right? So before save, they have added with flow before save trigger option. So it's just similar to before save Apex trigger, right? So that's exactly what they've done, and it's much faster. That's what they're claiming, 10 times faster, right? So I'll show you how it looks like. So, and so before um, uh, so what happens is that when you update or insert a date, so when you update a record, right, before it gets saved to the database, the trigger get fired and do whatever the changes it wants to do, right? So that's pretty handy here. And so you have to use a record triggered flow here to do so. And then you see you have the before the record is saved and the record is created or updated. Okay, so and then you can change it here, and then you put a condition here after the record is saved or whatever you want to do, and then you can execute only a certain part of a flow using this, or only if the record that triggered the flow to run is updated and meet the criteria. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate it pretty straightforward, and this is a very simple task they ask you to do. Okay, so I've already created a flow, but I'll just demonstrate it one more time. So what are you going to do? Go to setup here, right, and then go to flows here. Okay, just gonna, I don't want it to load it. Okay, and then flows. Okay, and create a new flow, right? And I'm gonna do a new flow, and this is the one they're talking about when a record is created, updated. So this is the flow you should be interested into. Okay, so click next. Okay, and so I'm gonna choose auto layout. It's up to you if you want to use freeform, but I choose the auto layout. Okay, so now this is the option you need to pay attention to. Trigger record is created, run flow. Okay, so click on edit. So I want this record to be created or updated, and this is the one I'm talking about before the record is saved. If you all need to update a record that launches flow, select this option to quickly build a high performance flow, right? So to update a record, simply use an assignment element to set the fields, right? So that's all you have to do. Okay, and then now what I have to do, so I choose an object, I choose an account object here. Okay, and now so what I do is that unbound, so onboarding status, so I just set it to complete. And so when to run the flow for update records, only when a record is updated to meet the criteria. So this will only be triggered if the record is updated to meet the criteria. So the criteria, we put it right, onboarding status equals to complete, right? Okay, and do. And now we need to do an assignment here. So we're gonna assign it and just say assignment object. Okay, and just say the variable. So record, okay, active, just equal to true, right? That's all I have to do, right? And then you activate it. So this is something you have to do to complete your challenge, right? Something similar on the similar line, right? I'll just give you a hint. So how to do that. I mean, I really expect you to know how to work with flows. So if you do not know how to work with flows, I highly encourage you to check it out and learn how to work with flows, because flows are powerful. You don't have to do Apex code, right? Most of the times you can do a lot of things with process builders. You can do with a lot of things with the flows. At times you do need to use code, right? When you're building a flow and it gets too complicated and you're hitting the so-called limit, you might have to go to the code route, right? But that being said, this is not a programming maintenance certification, so so this is one of the things I would highly encourage you to read it out. So read about it, right? And so this is the one, sorry, I was talking about the changes, right? Before save updates in flow. So go through it and you will understand more better. So this is all I wanted to talk about, right? As I already mentioned before I started this episode, there's nothing fancy about it. It's pretty straightforward, right? A few options I've added, and it's pretty easy to take this maintenance certification, right? And so yeah, that's all I wanted to do. So I mean, I don't want to give away your you know, your challenge of taking tests, right? But I just wanted to demonstrate how to do things, right? That's all it is. Okay, so right. So one thing I wanted to mention, that as you are aware that I'm doing certification series for Einstein, I understand I'm a bit slower compared to other certification series. I'm still trying to work out the best way to include every content, right? Because Einstein is huge, and a lot of things, you know, you need to understand from other standpoint of view, right? You know, you need to understand ETL tools if you have ETL experience, right? That kind of stuff. So I'm trying to do my best, and I'll promise that I'll complete the certification course. I will not let you guys in a limbo, right? So after that, I won't be doing much certification series for free, right? I'm gonna move to Udemy to do sharing visibility designer one, because as you understand, is architect levels needs a lot of time investment. So I would be investing a little bit more time and to create a Udemy course content, right? So that's one thing. And another thing I'm going to do is something to do with Azure. Now, why Azure is important, right? If you're someone who's aspiring to be a Salesforce architect, it's very important you understand the cloud. It doesn't matter you wanted to learn AWS, that's fine, or Google Cloud, but when you appear before CTA board, they might expect you to know a little bit about cloud. And even if you're going to become a Salesforce solution architect, you should understand how the cloud works, right? Someone might come to you and say, look, I wanted to integrate between the Azure AD and the Salesforce, right, using single sign-on. Pretty straightforward to do it. But if you do not understand how to do the stuff on the cloud, you might wonder, sometimes you might have to know how to use DevOps, right? Azure DevOps or AWS DevOps. At times you might need to know how to do containers like Kubernetes services, container orchestration tool, right? It's good to know these kind of things, right? Because unfortunately in today's time, if you need to know bits of everything, right? That's the reality, right? Because people are talking about artificial intelligence taking over people's job. That will happen eventually, right? You like it or not like it, a lot of things get lost to automation, because let's accept the fact machines are more efficient than humans, right? They can do 24 hours non-stop. You just have to code it and let it do the job, right? Humans can't do it, but the good thing is we can work with machines to make it efficient and improve our lives. So yeah, so sorry I digress. The reason why I'm saying is that it's good to know Azure, and I'm going to do Azure series, and it's going to do it for free, right? I don't believe in charging people money, but unless it's really, which consumes a lot of my time, I'm going to show that I'm sure that sharing and visibility designer will consume a lot of my time. So that's one of the reason why I'm going to move to Udemy, right? My apologies in advance, but if you are someone who can afford it, when I create a course, just give me a shout. We can work it out, right? So my main interest is in 2021 to get you guys certified and give more knowledge about different areas, right? That's all my intention is, to give as much as I can, right? Cool. That being said, greetings and adios from New Zealand. Take care. Bye-bye.